Iran's supreme leader says Western powers have not and will not bring Iran to its knees in nuclear talks. Ali Khamenei's comments were the first since Iran and major global powers agreed to continue discussions for a further 7 months. Iran's leader says if the talks fail, Iran will have to stand alone.
We approve of the efforts the Honorable Administration and the officials of the country are making. This is an important task and experience, and it is most probably a valuable course of action. They can do this. If they achieve results, then so much the better. If they do not achieve results, this should mean that the country must stand on its own feet in order to solve its problems.
Well, let's get the views of a former British ambassador to Iran. Sir Richard Dalton was in Tehran for 4 years up to 2006. He's now an associate fellow at the Royal Institute of International Affairs in London. Thanks very much for being with us, Ambassador, on the Al Jazeera NewsHour. So in 6-7 months' time, will there be a deal? Will there be a partial deal, or will talks collapse?
I don't believe talks will collapse. There is a chance of a partial deal, but I believe also there is a good chance of a comprehensive plan of action, in other words, a full agreement. Meanwhile, the negotiators and the political leadership should follow the advice of that well-known British saying, keep calm and carry on. There are lessons in what has happened for both sides. Iran must be willing to reduce in the short term its enrichment capabilities to a larger extent than it has hitherto. But there are also strong lessons for Washington and its negotiating partners, in the words of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, namely that on the question of sanctions relief, the United States must be able to offer firmer language and clearer commitments than they have hitherto.
Negotiations have been going on for quite a while, Ambassador, as you know. What makes you so sure? It sounds like you are saying that both sides are indeed committed to coming to some sort of agreement and deal. How sure are you of that? I'm
confident that there is no better course of action available to either side to achieving its bottom line. For the United States and its negotiating partners, that's transparency and verified arrangements to ensure that Iran does not misuse any aspect of its nuclear program for military means. And on the Iranian side, to restore progress towards national development that has been impaired so seriously over the last 8 years. So being rational on both sides, I'm convinced that they will see this opportunity. The chief danger now, I believe, is in the relationship between the United States administration and its Congress. And there has to be a united effort by Europe, by China, by Russia, by Middle East countries to explain to Congress in the United States that there is no better course of action for stability in the Middle East than to conclude this agreement with compromise on all sides.
Which leads me to my next question. Exactly how much do regional issues play into this decision to keep talking and finding some sort of deal? It would have been very risky, would it have not, if these talks were to have failed, effectively shutting the door of discussion with Iran, considering when people are saying that it is either directly or indirectly involved in the war in Syria, for example, as well as what's going on in Iraq.
The disagreements between Iran and its neighbors to the west in the Arab world are intense. And at the same time, there are common security challenges. So to confront those disagreements and those security challenges, there needs first to be a reduction in tension, and the only way of achieving that is through the nuclear agreement. But at the same time, neither the negotiators with Iran nor Iran itself are going to make additional compromises on the nuclear question just because there are common security challenges. So for now, over the next period, until the next deadline, I don't expect there to be much change in Iran's relations with neighboring states, or much reduction in the tension over the regional issues, or much extra cooperation between Iran and other states that are in that are confronting the so-called Islamic State. So a nuclear agreement is a necessary condition for improved regional cooperation, but it is not on its own going to solve the regional questions.
All right, Sir Richard Dalton, thank you very much for joining us on Al Jazeera.